Hi guys, 18 Dapper here and welcome to another match preview. This preview, Sunderland versus Doncaster at the Stadium of Light this Friday. It's a big game. Let's get this video started. So as I mentioned, a big game at the top of League One, Sunderland versus Doncaster. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're revisiting the channel, thank you for coming back. This is the format that these videos go in. We look at the previous meetings, current form, player focus for Doncaster Rovers, a one to watch for Sunderland, and then finally score prediction, and it is a big one for this game. So looking back at the previous meetings, I normally look back at the last 5 games that the teams have played, and luckily Donny have only faced Sunderland 5 times in the history. We've won 2, Sunderland have won 3, so no draws between the two teams. And I had to go back a long way. The first game that we ever faced each other was in 1954. My dad wasn't even born at this point. It was an FA Cup game at Sunderland, and we won 2-0. Happy days. History is good for Donny. But then we're going to the 87-88 season. I wasn't even born at this point. Division 3, home and away, 2 defeats by 2 goals, 2-0 at home and a 3-1 defeat away. And then more recently in 2017, it was a checker trade game at the Keep Moat. We won 1-0, and then earlier this season, once again at the Keep Moat, we lost 1-0, and that was a very entertaining game, and I thought we were unlucky to get beat on the night. Looking at the league table, it's not bad reading for Sunderland. They are currently on 41 games, 2 points behind Barnsley, so they win their game in hand, they're in the automatic places. I think they'll make the automatic places. I think Barnsley will slip into the playoffs come the end of the season, but there's also Portsmouth breathing down the neck, also on 41 points, 41 games with 80 points. So it's such a tight division from top to bottom. Looking at Donny, sat in 6th, we are in the prime position to take that final playoff spot. 5 points in front of Peterborough. Peterborough game in hand, but it doesn't matter too much as long as we keep on matching or bettering their results. We are there. Other teams with outside chances of getting into the playoffs are Coventry, Burton, Blackpool, Fleetwood. Very outside chance have got that game in hand, which pulls them a little bit closer to us. But honestly, I think it's between us, Peterborough and Coventry. Moving on to current form. So our form has taken a very good uplift. We have won our last 4 league games. Sunderland, 2 wins, 1 draw and 2 defeats out of their last 5. One of those defeats was the Checker Trade Trophy final at Wembley against Portsmouth. So as I mentioned, we're on a good run of form, winning 4 in a row after a humiliating 4-0 defeat at Luton. Luton were unreal that day. We just weren't at the races, but by the looks of things, that result is what we needed, and it has given us the push to play and perform how we have done over the last 4 games. We've looked really solid at the back. We've only conceded 2 goals in those 4 games, and we've scored 10. So 18 Dapper is liking those stats. Sunderland, no team in the league have drawn as many as Sunderland at 17 games. And for me, that could show a lack of a cutting edge sometimes. But on the flip side of that, Sunderland have lost the least amount of games of anybody in League One this season, only losing 3. So for me, they fully deserve the position that they're in. I honestly think they will make the top 2 by the end of the season. I don't think Portsmouth or Barnsley will. But if they don't, they've already had that day at Wembley, which could be vital in the playoffs. On to player focus, I am going with Herbie Kane. He's featured on one of the match previews before, on loan from Liverpool, only young lad, but he has appeared 42 times for Donny this season, scored 7, assisted 9. He's been missing for the last 4 games due to injury, and I think we have noticed that he's not been in the side. We've not been as competitive in the middle. Him and Whiteman are pivotal in Donny's midfield. Whiteman's still out at the minute, but Herbie, bags of talent for his age. I think we'll be seeing a lot more of him in the future. It's been a pleasure watching him this season. Hopefully, we get that playoff spot. We win the playoffs. We're in the Championship. And he comes back on loan from Liverpool next season. That would be nice. He was back in the midfield against Plymouth, and like I say, we just seemed a lot more competitive in that area. But having said that, Tommy Rowe had a fantastic game against Plymouth as well. I think Herbie Kane does make a big difference in the Rovers team. On to the one to watch for Sunderland. I've gone with Lynden Gooch. He has played 41 games this season, 7 goals, 9 assists. So same as Herbie. He's a player who came through Sunderland's youth system. He's gone on loan to 2 different clubs. He's gone to Gateshead, and we had him on loan for a little bit as well. I think he only played around 10 games for us. Looked okay, but we weren't in the best form when he was at Doncaster. Lynden's not featured in Sunderland's last 2 games. I looked around, couldn't find out if it was due to suspension or injury or just a lack of form. But I look back at the previous game when Sunderland came to the Keep Moat, and for me, he was one of the standout players there. He performed at such a high level, looked really good on the ball, and you could see that he had that little bit more quality from playing in the Championship and in the Premier League. So if he is in the squad, for me, he is one to watch for Sunderland. Now, taking everything into account at the minute, it is going to be a tough game. And right now, I would take a draw. Honestly, I would take a draw. But there's just something in me that's saying that we might do it. So I am going for a very tight 2-1 win. I'm going to say it now. I think Sunderland will take the lead, but I think we will fight back. John Marquis back after concussion. So who knows? We're on the telly. We normally perform okay when we're on Sky. I'm going with a 2-1 win to Donny, and hopefully Sunderland do us another favour when they play Peterborough on Monday. We will see. Unfortunately, there's going to be no match day vlog. I can't make it to Sunderland on Friday, but there will be a preview and a match day vlog for the Accrington Stanley game. If you've enjoyed this, big thumbs up for us, please. Subscribe if you haven't already. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.